make sure you take the right door on your way down. There's no telling where you might end up. Can you make it through to the night's end? I'll see you soon.
Halloween. The one night of the year when the living pretend to be dead. And the dead, well, they get to see what all the fuss is about. Welcome back, friends, to the night's end. I'm your host, Jimmy Horrors, your costume's worst nightmare, and your reflection's oldest friend. I do love this time of year. The air smells like smoke and sugar. Every porch light hides a promise, but every mask, every single one, hides a lie. Tonight's tale comes from a tape that wasn't supposed to exist. Found it on my desk last week, unmarked, mirror finish. Someone had written 2 words on it in red pen. Play me. So I did. And what I heard, well, I'll let you decide if it's a trick or treat. Through the Glass, Episode 1, The Mask Stays On. Eli hadn't trick-or-treated in 5 years, not since high school. But tonight on the edge of 19, he found himself walking the same cracked footpaths, a pillowcase in hand, his breath misting in the cold. The street had changed, new families, new fences, but the air still held that same autumn sweetness. Candle smoke, melting chocolate, and damp earth. Somewhere down the block, a sprinkler sputtered to life, spraying mist into the orange glow of a street lamp. He almost turned back. Almost said no when Harper had texted him that afternoon.
One last round, Eli. For old time's sake.
Her words, not his. But then Taz had shown up at his door wearing a vampire cape and a grin. And that had been that.
Feels weird, doesn't it? Like we're trespassing on our own childhood.
You're just bitter because you're too tall to be cute now.
Blasphemy! We are the last of the Halloween faithful. Behold our devotion to sugar and poor decision-making!
They walked past darkened porches, candy bowls overturned, jack-o'-lanterns shriveled to waxen skulls. Every so often they'd catch a glimpse of real children, small ghosts and plastic superheroes, darting between houses. But even those seemed fewer than before.
No one does it anymore.
Too scared of the dark.
Eli looked up. The moon was bright, round, full enough to see their shadows double across the asphalt. They were about to call it a night when they saw it. At the end of the cul-de-sac, a house they didn't remember. Older than the rest. Its porch light burned a deep amber instead of white, and a crooked gate leaned across the path like a warning.
You see that?
Huh, don't remember that house.
Yeah, probably haunted. Perfect ending to the night.
The gate moaned as they pushed it aside. The front yard was littered with old decorations. Cardboard skeletons bleached by sun. Cobwebs turned grey. But there were pumpkins too. Dozens of them. Every single one carved with the same grin, wide, triangular, cruel. Each candle inside burned low, flickering like a breath that didn't want to die.
Maybe they'll go all out for Halloween.
Maybe.
Eli said. He didn't believe it. The house had a pulse. That was the only way to describe it. A low, thrumming beat in the air, like something breathing beneath the boards. He climbed the steps. The timbers sighed underfoot. He raised his hand to knock and stopped. There was already someone on the other side of the frosted glass. A shadow. Still. Waiting.
Hello?
The door opened before he touched it.
Well now, 3 faces on my doorstep. How lucky am I?
The woman who stood there could have been anyone's grandmother. Soft grey curls, eyes like worn coins, but her skin gleamed faintly, as though lit from beneath. She smiled, teeth small and too even.
Trick or treat.
Harper said weakly. The woman tilted her head.
Treat, of course. It's all any of us ever want.
She turned and vanished into the dark of the hallway. When she returned, she carried a box, old cardboard, lid flapping loose. Inside were 3 masks: paper, paint, wax. Homemade.
Take whichever calls to you. But remember, once you've worn it, it remembers you.
Eli laughed. So did the others. The kind of laugh you use to chase away silence. He reached into the box and pulled one free. It was smooth, pale, the face of a child with hollow eyes. He turned it in his hands. The candlelight caught something wet along the edges. He told himself it was varnish. The mask smelled faintly of wax and earth. They fit perfectly and snug across the cheeks, cool on the lips. And when they looked at each other, for a heartbeat, they all looked the same. 3 pale faces grinning in the porch light.
Creepy.
Taz made a show of bowing to the woman.
You're an artist, ma'am.
The old woman nodded once.
Art is what stays behind after we go.
They walked back down the path. Behind them, the porch light dimmed. Eli turned, just once, to glance back. The woman was still standing there in the window, but now her face wasn't bare, and she was wearing his mask. The gate swung shut behind them with a tired little clap, like hands closing in prayer. Eli glanced back again. The porch was empty. No old woman in the window. No box. Just pumpkins with mean grins and candles breathing low. They walked, not speaking for a while, 3 pale faces moving through the dark. Harper pinched the edge of her mask as if adjusting a fringe.
It's so snug. Kinda nice.
Smells like old churches. Wax and something dead.
That's incense.
No, I meant the dead bit.
Eli didn't say anything. He could feel the weight of the thing across his cheekbones, a cool press that drank the warmth from his skin. With every breath, the mouth cutout drew a thread of cold air into him. He told himself he liked the sensation. It made the night feel sharper, the colours clearer, the childish ritual honest again.
Let's take a photo.
They stopped at the corner under a streetlight and took a selfie. The screen flared, bleaching their features, and the lens caught them in the instant between laughter and stillness. 3 friends, 19, trying on their childhoods one last time. Harper looked at the photo, frowned.
What the?
What? Let me see.
On the screen, their faces were bare, no masks. Bare skin shone with the too wide smile of the flash. Teeth seemed too white, eyes too glassy, mouths too eager. The masks were gone from the image as if erased with a patient thumb.
Artifact. Cameras hate texture in low light.
Harper snapped another, closer. The same. 3 clean faces, 3 awkward toothy grins.
Okay, that's properly weird.
Eli raised his head. The street had gone quiet. Not just the natural hush of late night, but something deeper. A pause between breaths, a held note. The jack-o'-lanterns here had the same grin as the ones at the old woman's place, and he realised he could see his reflection in the glass of each candle jar. Tiny Eli heads, tiny Harper heads, tiny Taz heads lined up in firelight on a dozen stoops. The reflections were a heartbeat late, still smiling when their real mouths had already fallen. Taz waved at one of the little reflections. The tiny Taz waved back a beat after, holding the wave just a fraction too long.
Lag. Like a live stream. My face is on dial-up.
Harper wasn't laughing now. She turned slowly, tracking her shadow as it doubled and tripled across the road's oily surface.
Guys, do you hear that?
Eli did, a whisper under the wind. Not words exactly, more like the sound a mouth makes when it practices them. A rehearsal. Lips forming shapes in the dark. They walked again. Their houses felt further apart, the air colder. Eli could feel the mask moulding to his face, as if the paper softened with his breath and learned the map of his bones. A porch light snapped on up ahead. They climbed the steps and knocked, because that's what you do. The door opened only a crack, a man's eye in the split. "We're a bit old for this, aren't we?" the man said, not unkindly.
Last time. Promise.
A pause. The eyes softened. A small handful of wrapped lollies appeared through the gap. "Don't be the last at anything," he muttered and closed the door. Back on the street, Harper unwrapped a caramel and popped it into her mouth. Chewed. Stopped. Spat it into her palm.
Bleh. Ugh. It's stale.
Eli looked down at the goo in her hand. It wasn't caramel. A damp clot of brown paper lay in her palm, stamped with the faint shape of a mouth. They didn't take any more lollies after that. They cut through a laneway where the bitumen dipped, and a wide puddle had formed. The puddle was smooth as glass, a perfect disk of night with a coin of moonlight in the center. They stepped around it. Eli glanced down and saw the three of them reflected there. Himself, Harper, Taz. The masks on their faces were a little different in the water. The eyes deeper, the smiles wider. The water Eli raised his hand to wave. The real Eli didn't move. Harper hissed.
Don't.
Don't what?
Don't wave back.
The reflected hand stayed in the air, patient. Then it lowered, and the water Eli turned and began to walk, a shadow moving beneath the surface, splitting and stretching in the black like something swimming away. The two beside him followed. They watched their other selves recede until the puddle was just a coin again.
We need to take these off. Now.
The mask peeled away easily. Too easily. They came free like stickers, like scabs, leaving a cool afterprint across their skin. Eli turned his over, expecting to see the inside wet with breath. It was dry. It smelled of old books and cold wax.
Better?
Taz asked, forcing a smile. Harper nodded too quickly.
Yeah. Better.
Eli looked up and caught their reflections in the window of a parked car. Three faces looked back, except the reflections still wore the masks. Pale, grinning, hollow-eyed. He moved his hand. A fraction late, the masked hand followed. He dropped his arm. The reflection kept it raised a moment longer, as if reluctant to let him go.
We should go home.
She'd folded her mask in half without noticing. The crease made it look like it was smiling harder. They kept to the shadows after that, avoiding windows. Walked in the center of the road where there was nothing to reflect them except the oily sheen of tar, and even that caught their shapes like squid ink. They passed a convenience store with the lights still on, a row of glass doors, each one a cold rectangle of reflected world. Inside, the fluorescents hummed, and the fridges clicked and sighed. No one stood behind the counter. Taz tried the handle. It opened.
Don't. Please.
We'll just get water. I'm parched.
We don't pay for things at witch houses or empty shops. It's a rule.
They stepped inside. The door shut behind them with the kind of sound glass makes when it fits perfectly in its frame. The air smelled like old coffee and freezer burn. Eli stared down the aisle and saw the mirrored backs of the drink fridges. A hallway of infinite thems, shrinking, repeating, precise. Taz walked to the drinks, hand out, and froze. The reflection in the door watched him with a little smile beneath the mask. It mouthed a word he couldn't catch. He leaned closer.
Say that again?
He whispered to the glass. Something fogged the inside of the door like breath. A message scrawled itself backwards on the mist. Eli read it aloud before he could stop himself.
Don't follow him!
Follow who? Me?
Harper grabbed his sleeve.
We're going.
At the counter, a little brass bell sat beside the till. Harper touched it without thinking. The ring went out thin and far, as if the sound had to cross an ocean of mirrored air. It came back a moment later, a ghost of itself. Then again, fainter, and again, until the shop was full of tiny, tinny bells chiming from nowhere. They ran. The door stuck halfway as if the world outside had shifted while they were in there. Eli put his shoulder to the glass, and it gave, releasing them onto the street like air from a jar. The bell sound clung to them as they went, trailing like a chain.
Harper!
Eli said, when they'd gone half a block.
Your face.
She touched her cheek. Her fingers came away with a dusting of grey. Paper mache or something like it had flaked onto her skin. A faint crescent pressed into the flesh where the mask had been.
It's just glue. I'm fine.
They stopped under a tree to catch their breath. The leaves above were a black lace against the moon. The shadows of branches made a rigid pattern across their faces.
All right, there's a rational explanation for this. The masks mess with our perception, like those optical illusions in science class. We take them off, but the brain keeps compensating for a layer that's gone.
Then why are they only on in reflections?
Because reflections are...
He groped for something convincingly and came up empty.
Look, I don't know. I just know it's better if we keep moving.
A car rolled slowly past at the end of the street. No headlights, just the outline of a sedan gliding quiet as a thought. It took the corner without a sound. Eli didn't like the way its windows were black, like sockets. He swallowed. His mouth tasted like copper and candle smoke. Harper shivered.
I want to see my mom in the morning. I want to be tired and grumpy and alive.
We will be. We're just spooked.
Eli felt watched, not from the house or the trees or the dark, from the thin places where world meets world, from the skin of it, every pain a possible eye, every puddle a mouth. He needed to prove something, that he was still attached to himself, that there wasn't another him walking somewhere he couldn't reach.
Wait. Just wait.
He stepped onto the verge and bent to the rainwater pooled in the gutter. His reflection looked up, masked. He touched the water with 2 fingers. Ripples pushed the face apart, broke it into shards. When the rings settled, the mask reformed, patient, unhurt. He exhaled. A thread of breath drifted across the puddle. The reflected mask fogged slightly, then cleared. The mouth seemed to open a fraction wider, as if pleased.
Eli! Leave it!
He straightened. His neck felt cold where the mask had lain. He twisted the thing in his hands. The edge had softened. The paper had a damp pulsing give to it now, as if it had learned his shape and wanted to keep it.
Bin it. Chuck it in the gutter.
Eli tried. He tossed the mask into the water. It floated a moment, face up, pale and glad. Then it rolled, as if turning to look at him. The mouth filled with black. Slowly, gently, the mask sank. The water skin closed over it without a sound.
Good.
They took 5 steps. Then Eli looked back. The mask lay at the edge of the puddle again, propped up against the concrete, like something that had climbed out and needed a rest. They didn't touch it. They didn't speak. The street narrowed, the houses crowding closer, the letterboxes watching with their little mouths agape. Behind one fence, wind chimes stabbed the air with bright metal teeth. In every polished surface, the mask stared out at them, patient, a step behind, a beat late, as if rehearsing. Harper stopped suddenly.
Listen.
They listened. There it was again, the whisper under the wind, closer now. Shapes of words barely formed, elongated vowels like breath in a flute. Eli tilted his head. The whisper was coming from above. They looked up. In the second-story window of a dark house, 3 masked faces were pressed to the pane, their cheeks flattened, their mouths smiled. The faces fogged the glass and drew words with slow, backwards letters that took a moment to resolve. Harper read them, voice so thin it was almost not there.
We go first.
The faces lifted, peeling away from the window. The fog words remained a moment longer, then faded as if licked clean from the other side. Taz took a step back.
I hate this street.
We're not on a special street. We're on our street. That's worse.
Eli looked down the block. The dark sedan sat parked now, half in shadow. The windows were black, the kind of black that kept light. He didn't want to go near it. He wanted to be a child again, with a pillowcase full of lollies and a bedtime, with parents who'd left the porch light on and a path that never bent where it shouldn't. But the sedan's window held a square of night, as smooth as a lake. In it, he could just make out 3 masked shapes, waiting. He had to know.
One more test. Then we go home.
Harper shook her head.
Eli.
Just one.
He stepped off the curb. The car did not move. Harper and Taz followed, because friends do. Because fear is lighter when shared. Their shadows walked with them like obedient dogs. And in every glossy surface along the way, other shadows lagged, patient, masked, learning. They reached the sedan. Eli stared into the side window. His heart thumped slow and heavy, like a knock on a locked door. The face in the glass stared back. Hollow eyes, white smile. The mask fit him beautifully.
Hi.
He whispered to himself, or to the thing that knew his shape. The reflection lifted its hand. Eli didn't. The hand stayed there, waiting. Then it beckoned. The word didn't feel like his language. It felt like a muscle moving. He leaned closer. Eli leaned closer to the glass. The face inside moved with him. Same tilt, same breath. But the light in its eyes didn't match the street lamps. It pulsed from somewhere deeper, as if lit by a candle placed behind its skull. He could see his own reflection's lips shape a word.
You.
Then another.
Left.
The mouth opened wider. A strand of darkness rolled out, slow as smoke. Harper whispered.
Eli, stop.
He didn't. The glass fogged between them, though the air was cold enough to bite. Behind him, Taz shifted, the crunch of shoes on grit.
It's just reflection distortion, man. Optical...
The reflection's mouth split wider, stretching the painted grin of the mask beyond skin, beyond possible. Eli stumbled back. The crack ran across the car door like a vein. Then in the black glass, the reflected Harper and Taz turned toward him a fraction too late. The delay had become a gap. Between the real and the mirrored, a moment's space had opened, and something else lived in that breath. They ran. Not together, just the sound of feet on asphalt, uneven, panicked. Streetlights flickered out behind them one by one, swallowing their path in reverse order. Eli cut through a yard, vaulted a fence, landed hard on his hands and knees. The grass was wet, but not with dew. With something slick that smelled of paint and candle wax. He wiped his palms on his jeans, grey smears, papery, like the inside of the mask. Harper appeared at the fence, breathless.
Where's Taz?
He looked back the way they'd come. The street was empty. In the window of the car far down the block, Third Shape stood perfectly still.
Keep moving.
They found themselves on a different street, or the same one again. The houses repeated. Same jack-o'-lanterns, same shriveled pumpkins, like a loop replaying its best scene. Harper's voice trembled.
We've already been here.
Eli didn't answer. He knew she was right. At the end of the road, the amber porch light waited, steady as a star that never moved. They walked toward it because what else was there to do? The same gate, the same pumpkins with knife-cut grins, and from inside the house, the same faint beat, that breathing heartbeat of wooden walls. The door stood open now. Inside, the hallway was a throat of shadows. No light, just rows of mirrors stacked against the walls, their faces draped with thin white cloths. Wind moved through the house, fluttering fabric like breath through lungs. They could hear a whisper between the rustles. Their own voices repeated a moment late, a chorus of apologies and laughter, and every word they'd spoken since the gate. At the far end of the hall, the old woman waited. No light touched her, only the shine of her eyes. 2 coins in a dark well.
You took them off. Why would you do that?
Harper shook her head.
We're sorry. We didn't mean to.
They were learning you. They were hungry.
She raised a hand. Her palm was smeared with grey, the colour of wet paper.
Where's Taz?
Eli asked. The woman tilted her head. The motion made a soft peeling sound, as if skin unsticking from skin.
With himself. Where else?
She stepped aside, revealing a mirror behind her. In it, Taz stood alone on the street, mask back on, head tilted, eyes hollow. He raised his hand and waved. Harper screamed. The sound did not come back to them. It went into the glass and stayed there, rippling across its surface like a stone thrown into water. Eli grabbed her arm. They ran. The house moved with them, each door opening into another hallway, each hallway lined with mirrors that showed a step behind their own. In every reflection, their masked selves followed calmly, unhurried, patient. Harper tripped and fell. Her hand struck a mirror. The cloth fell away. Her reflection looked back and smiled with someone else's mouth. The surface rippled. A hand, pale, papery, slick, reached through and caught her wrist. She screamed. Eli pulled. The hand pulled back. For a moment she was between worlds, half in shadow, half in light. Then the mirror cracked down the middle and she was free, trembling, bleeding wax. They burst through a back door into the yard. The moon hung too low, too bright. The grass was white as ash. Eli looked for the street, but there was only a line of fences and behind them, rows of cars. Every window held the same reflection, 3 masked figures standing side by side. One for each of them. But Taz was already gone.
We have to go.
Where?
Anywhere without mirrors.
They ran until the houses blurred, until the night tasted of iron, and still the reflections followed, bright as teeth in the dark. And that, dear listeners, is where the tape ended. All looped. Hard to tell. Funny thing though, while you were listening, I swear I saw something in the booth window. Looked a bit like me, only smiling better. Now, I don't want to alarm anyone, but if you happen to be near a mirror, maybe just turn it around for the night. No reason, just a little Halloween superstition. Until next time, keep your face on. It might not be the one you get back. Stay horrific, everyone. This has been a production of Dissonance Media. Through the Glass, Episode 1, The Mask Stays On, was written by James Barnett. Elijah was performed by Denis Dietrich. Harper was performed by Naomi Richards. Taz was performed by Brandon P Jenkins. Old Woman was performed by Erika Ventura. Additional voices provided by James Barnett. This story was narrated by Jimmy Horace, aka James Barnett. Stay tuned for the next 2 parts of this story. If you enjoyed, please do recommend it to a friend. To support The Night's End and Dissonance Media, you can join us on Patreon, where you can listen ad-free and get bonus stories. Happy Halloween. And remember, stay horrific, everyone.